Hey everyone, and Merry Christmas. Since it's the most wonderful time of the year, I wanted to talk about the most famous Christmas icon, Saint Nick himself, Santa Claus. But instead of listing off some usual facts that you've probably heard before, like that he's based off a real person or he's an Omega level mutant, I've got a Santa story that a lot of you probably haven't heard before. A little moment in sports history known as the 1968 Philadelphia Eagles Santa Claus incident. Now, I'm gonna be honest here, I'm not much of a sports fan. Unless it has the words "we" or "blood" before it, I'm not that interested. But in 1968, something pretty funny happened to a poor Santa Claus performer at an Eagles game. Now, unfortunately, there's no video of this happening, but let me give you the rundown. So, it's December, and the Eagles want to spread a little Christmas cheer by having Santa himself come down to the game to greet everyone. Unfortunately, there was a huge snowstorm the night before, and the guy who was supposed to dress up as Santa said,
"No."
So, a guy named Bill, who was the entertainment director of the stadium, needed somebody to quickly fill the role. Enter Frank Olivo, a longtime Eagles fan who always dressed up as Santa during December games. So Bill saw this guy and asked him if he wanted to fill in for the absent Santa. And Frank, being a longtime fan and all, graciously accepted the job. But this seems like it's going pretty well so far, right? I mean, yeah, they couldn't get a professional Santa to do their halftime show, but it seems like they're doing the best they can with what they had. Well, there's some stuff that I left out. First of all, at this point in the season, the Eagles were not doing so well. This was their final game of the season, and out of the 13 games they played so far, they had only won 2. And again, this is the middle of December. In Philly, it was probably so cold that any Christmas warmth in their hearts was snuffed out. It was not a good day to be an Eagles fan. Okay, but it's halftime now. Here Comes Santa Claus starts playing. Frank is ready to make his grand entrance on a large, extravagant Christmas float that featured 8 life-sized fiberglass reindeer and it got stuck in the mud and couldn't be used.
Sorry, this isn't your lucky day.
So Frank Santa had to run out on the field on foot. And this was the breaking point for these Philly fans. They have been out here in the frigid cold for hours watching their home team get their asses handed to them the whole time, and what did they get for waiting? A 5'6" guy in a crappy homemade Santa outfit carrying an equipment bag filled with soggy towels because they didn't have a sack on hand, who may or may not have been drunk at the time. So what did these Eagle fans do? They started pelting the poor Santa with snowballs. By the way, they also threw beer bottles and food at him, but the snowballs are the most common. Frank has stated in later interviews that he believes that he was hit by more than 100 snowballs. He was hit so much that his fake eyebrows were knocked clean off. Imagine being a little kid back then. Your parents take you to a football game and you're told that Santa himself will be there. He then finally makes his grand entrance, but then hundreds of fans right next to you start raining fire on him. I think I'd understand if I didn't get any gifts that year. Anyway, the aftermath of this was pretty tame. Although this did cause CBS Sports to claim that Philadelphia sports fans are the, quote, absolute worst, and ESPN stated that the city, quote, cemented its reputation as the harshest place in sports. But what happened to Frank Olivo, the Santa who tried his hardest to spread a little Christmas cheer? Well, immediately after the game, the Eagles gave him 2 little football cufflinks for his noble sacrifice. Although, despite all this, he stated multiple times after the fact that he holds no ill will against those fans, and since he's a fan himself, understood where they were all coming from. Mr. Olivo has unfortunately passed away since then. However, he will go down as possibly the most famous and courageous Eagles fan. But not only that, he stepped up to the plate when no other Santa would. He heroically took his beatings with pride, knowing that it would ease the pain of all of those poor Eagle fans in the stands. And that is why he's not only the greatest Eagles fan in history, but also the greatest Santa in history, besides the real one. So, in the end, it seems like everything turned out fine. Except the Eagles, I guess. They ended up losing 24-17. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this lesser-known Christmas tale. And I hope you all have a great holiday season, and remember to like it if you liked it, subscribe if you really liked it, and I'll see you next time.